Good morning and happy Wellness Wednesday, everyone. Welcome to live Q&A session. My name is Adelaide, and I am a certified nutrition and wellness consultant based out of Southwest Florida, but I also see clients in Colorado as well as some other areas across the United States. So I'm very excited to be here with you all and answer your questions today related to how to balance your blood sugar naturally, even during candy season. You can tell that the weather is definitely changing and fall is in the air once we start bringing out our cozy little jackets and we start seeing those candy bowls pop up just about everywhere. I actually had a great conversation with a client the other day who mentioned that she feels like she can't go to her office, to the doctor, or anywhere else without finding this huge bowl of candy just waiting for her. And I think that's a common thing that we see during this time of year leading up to Halloween, as well as into the remaining holidays that we have in 2025. So I just wanted to jump on and give some really practical tips for how we can help balance sugar naturally so that you can still enjoy this wonderful holiday season and also keep your body healthy at the same time. And I mean, I love a occasional Reese's peanut butter cup or some M&Ms just as much as the next person, but I also love feeling good. So there are ways that we can embrace that balance and support our health in really positive manners without, it overindulging or on the other end, sacrificing the things that we enjoy. So we can build that balance in. And that's the entire purpose of today's topic, is to teach you how to build that balance. So just to give a quick overview of some of the things that we're really going to dive into today. First, I'm going to explain why blood sugar balance matters for energy, cravings, and your overall mood and health, as well as some really simple nutrition strategies that we can utilize that will really make a big difference in your energy levels, your cravings, and your mood. And we're also going to discuss some options for how you can enjoy those treats during this holiday season without the guilt and without those sugar crashes, which is usually a big problem that we see during this time of year. As it starts to get darker gradually outside, our energy levels are naturally going to go down. And if we pair that with a lot of sugar, we're going to set ourselves up for a big crash that's really not fun, not sustainable. So today is all about how to really give ourselves the tools to prepare our bodies for health and wellness while still indulging in the occasional treat. So, before we really go into why blood sugar matters for your health, I want to give a good explanation for what is happening internally so that you can understand what your body is doing when it reacts to different foods that you introduce into your body. So, essentially, what we're talking about in terms of blood sugar balance is our blood glucose level. So, glucose is sugar that comes from our foods, and glucose is going to start to go into the bloodstream as we digest our foods. So, when we eat these really carbohydrate rich or very sugary foods, our body starts to break that down into the basic component, which is glucose, and that's going to enter your bloodstream. So you can think of glucose as your body's main source of energy, and it's actually the main source of energy for the brain. So it's really important, but again, it's really important in the context of balance. So as your blood sugar levels start to rise, your body is going to react and it's going to produce a hormone called insulin. I'm sure we've all heard of insulin in various contexts, but we may still be a little unclear on what exactly insulin does. So, insulin is kind of like the key that unlocks the door to your body's cells. And that way, the glucose can enter into the cells, leave the bloodstream, and go into the cells to give you that energy, right? So, um, the insulin is a very important kind of director or key unlocker to give you the tools that you need to bring the glucose to where it's supposed to be. It should not be in the bloodstream. It should be in our cells giving us energy. So that's what insulin does, is it helps bring it into the cells. Now, when everything's working properly, we would see blood glucose rise gradually after a meal or snack. Insulin does its job by unlocking the door and allowing the glucose to enter the cells, and everything's great. Blood sugar levels go back to normal, you have energy, you're functioning well. Perfect. That's what we want to see. But unfortunately, what often happens is maybe we overeat a very carbohydrate rich meal, or we eat, some processed sugar, things that have a lot of glucose in them. And so if there is more glucose that has entered the bloodstream than what our cells need right away to function, insulin is going to help us to store some of that extra insulin, which typically either goes directly to the liver, it may go to the muscles to help store in your muscles for an upcoming workout or just general movement. But it also often will end up storing as body fat, especially if we have levels that are excessive for what we need at a particular moment. Most of the time, the excess of that glucose is going to be stored directly as fat. So that's a really important thing to note. And also, what happens is when we have these huge blood sugar spikes, and then followed by this big release of insulin into your body, instead of that natural gradual rise and fall that we want to see, it's kind of like if you're at the beach and you turn your back for a second and this huge wave just crashes right over your head. That's what's happening in your body when we have a massive excess of glucose, and insulin is trying to work overtime to adjust for that. So that's where you get that sugar crash, because your body floods with insulin to try and clear out all of that glucose, and it ends up producing more than perhaps it might need in that moment because it's trying to clear everything out. So that's where we start to get that energetic sugar crash. So you can kind of think of insulin like a traffic controller getting glucose to where it needs to go. And glucose is, of course, that incoming traffic. So we're directing it to the right parking spots, which are going to be your cells. And if we have too many cars driving at once, traffic is going to get chaotic and out of control. And that controller insulin is going to have to work overtime. So if we are in a consistent state of having too much glucose and then an excess of insulin in the body, over time, traffic stops up and people get irritated. Maybe they stop listening to the traffic controller and just do whatever they want. We've all seen that happen out on the road in crazy traffic. And the same thing happens in our bodies, where eventually, if we have this state of high glucose over time and too much insulin, we're going to stop receiving that insulin signal and just ignore it. And that's where insulin resistance comes in, which can ultimately lead eventually to type 2 diabetes. So this is a very essential strategy to learn how to naturally balance your blood sugar with real whole foods to help prevent the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Or if you're already at that point, this is only going to help you to better be able to manage that condition. So it's a very important skill, regardless of your health status or anything that's going on. This is something that you can very easily incorporate into your routine, and it's definitely going to help support your health. So when we have proper blood sugar balance, what we'll notice is those energy levels, instead of the huge wave and crash, we get these gradual kind of hilly rise and falls. And that helps to keep our energy levels a lot more stable. It can reduce the cravings that we have for additional sugary or, less healthy food options, and can really contribute to better hormone support overall. So mood, sex hormones, everything. Very, very, very important. So one of the best strategies that I want to share today is really simply fiber first. So what I mean by fiber first is, on your balanced plate, if we're looking at the plate, you have half your plate full of healthy fruits and veggies. A quarter of your plate is going to be that protein, and then a quarter of your plate is your healthy whole grains. So we are going to be focusing on that category of the healthy whole grains and the fruits and veggies. Those are going to be very high in fiber and help support our blood sugar balance and healthy digestion. So, fiber acts as kind of an insulator. It actually helps to slow the absorption of glucose so that we can maintain that stable energy level over the course of the day. So some great examples I kind of already mentioned in general, but things like veggies, so broccoli, carrots, all of those different veggies are going to be so helpful. Leafy greens are great too, and I definitely encourage including those because they are so nutrient dense, but they will be lower in fiber than some of our other alternatives for veggies. You could also incorporate things like chia seeds. They are super high in dietary fiber and can be easily added to yogurt, smoothies, or whatever else you would like, even salads. Oats are amazing, brown rice, quinoa, apples, and then anything in terms of fruits, veggies, or those whole grains is really going to be a helpful source of dietary fiber. So, an example or a good idea that you could start with is maybe starting your meals with a side salad before you get to your main entree. Or you could eat some fruit with some nut butter as a snack. That way, we can balance those together. Now, the second most important thing that we're going to be emphasizing then is we'll do fiber first. And then after that, number two is going to be protein and healthy fats. So, protein and healthy fats are both very satiating, which means that they make you feel fuller longer, and they do help to slow digestion. So, again, that helps to support the hormone balance and energy level balance. So, some great examples that you can incorporate are things like eggs, Greek yogurt, chicken, avocado, nuts and seeds, steak, wild caught fish, any type of complete protein, or even pairs of incomplete proteins that you use to create a complete protein and amino acid profile. Those are all going to be really great for helping to support your healthy blood sugar balance. Now, one big thing that I really like to emphasize here is really aim not to eat those sugary or carbohydrate rich snacks on an empty stomach. You want to pair them with a fiber source, a protein, or a healthy fat, ideally all three if possible, so we can hit every single macronutrient for that complete balance. And then again, in the nature of talking about balanced plates, balanced snacks, balanced meals, we really want to aim for that balance. We need to hit all three of our major macronutrients in every meal, and at least two out of the three of those macronutrients in our snacks during the day. So you always want to include the PFF method, as we like to call it: protein, fat, and fiber. So think the PFF method anytime that you're preparing a meal or balanced snacks. This is really going to stabilize those energy levels. So some good examples would be for breakfast, something like oatmeal with nut butter, chia seeds, and berries. We're crossing off all of those major components and getting a high amount of dietary fiber. That is excellent. Now, for lunch or dinner, another great example would be something like a quinoa bowl with salmon and healthy veggies and olive oil. That's going to really give you all of those essential nutrients to help you balance that blood sugar. So, having consistent meals, whether that's 3 square meals a day, maybe it's 2 with a couple of snacks or whatever makes sense for you. But we really want to have those regular, consistent meals and or snacks to help prevent those blood sugar dips and to kind of help us be proactive before we choose those sugary snacks and treats so that we're priming our body for health and not sugar crashes. Now, timing of meals in terms of balancing that with sweets is going to be absolutely essential. Like I mentioned, it is a good idea to always pair these sugary snacks with protein, fat, and fiber. So we do not want to eat these candies, sweets, or other high glucose containing foods just by themselves. We want to insulate them with our other macronutrients to support our health. So we really want to enjoy those sweets and treats after meals, not before. And again, protein and fiber first are going to be the best. And additionally to that, what we can really do to help balance our blood sugar in an amazing way, and it's so simple, is just getting a little bit of movement. I recommend a 15-minute walk after a meal to help your body to pull that glucose from your bloodstream and deposit it into the cells first, of course, but then also into the muscles, which is going to help fuel any activity that you're doing during the day. So even if you can't get a walk in after a meal, things like dancing around in your kitchen, cleaning after the meal, those are going to give you some good boosts to your movement to allow your muscles to draw in that blood sugar, any excess that's occurring. And what's really cool is your muscles can actually be sort of considered our natural blood glucose monitors because they do pull in that excess glucose to fuel your activity. So the more muscle that you build, the more you have the ability to self-regulate your blood glucose naturally. So I do really recommend getting activity in, starting an exercise routine, or continuing an exercise routine if you already have one, to really help even more solidify the balance that we're looking to achieve with our natural healthy eating patterns and our overall lifestyle. And so, again, the biggest thing that I want to really, really emphasize to everyone out there is that healthy eating is not about restriction. It's all about being strategic so that you can feel good for as long as possible. So it is more important to find ways that we can build in healthy habits rather than restricting things out. There is no diet that is going to be better than a healthy, balanced eating pattern that you enjoy, that's sustainable, and helps to support your health goals for the long term. So I cannot overemphasize that. It is the most important cornerstone of our philosophy. We are all about balance and how to help women directly achieve that in their unique lifestyles. So, in terms of some more practical tips for helping you navigate this season where we are encountering a lot more sugar, sweets, and candy, one thing that I do recommend is one of the simplest things is out of sight, out of mind. If you can keep your candy bowl or sweets and treats that you want to occasionally enjoy out of your primary line of sight during the day, that's going to really help just reduce the trigger to eat those sweets and candies. Now, choose the treats that you really, really, really enjoy rather than just have a whole hodgepodge of different treats at your disposal. Pick one or two or three that you really, really love that you definitely want to keep in your routine and set those in a place maybe high up in your cabinet and your pantry, maybe in the back of the freezer, somewhere that's slightly out of sight, but it's still nearby when you do want to indulge that craving. And that way, you can still enjoy that without overindulging. So it's all about the quality versus the quantity. You could also consider if there's a very important candy or snack that you enjoy, for example, Reese's peanut butter cups. There are a lot of great healthier alternatives to those types of treats nowadays that you could certainly look into and just see if a healthier option of that treat might be preferred. Um, and definitely hydrate yourself. One thing that we see is as we go into fall and winter time, we're maybe not spending as much time outside or exercising quite as much and sweating as much as we would be during the summer. So we may not notice our thirst cues and we may not be hydrating enough. So by staying properly hydrated, we can minimize cravings because sometimes cravings will come up simply because you are feeling a little bit dehydrated. So definitely stay hydrated. And just remember, it's okay to enjoy these seasonal treats, but we really want to make sure that we're having balance. And the more that we can proactively emphasize those healthy ingredients to nourish your body ahead of time, the more equipped your body will be to handle that excess of blood glucose that comes in as a result of those sugary snacks. Now, There are so many ways that we can incorporate healthy snacks and still indulge in some of those sweet cravings. We have a great recipe on our website for a brownie that takes less than 5 minutes that you can cook in a regular mug in your microwave. It's absolutely delicious and it really does a great job of satisfying those chocolate cravings. So, if you are interested in reading that recipe and trying it out for yourself, please visit rosenaturalwellness.com. You'll just go to our articles and click on recipes, and it'll be right there for you. We will also be releasing some additional healthy options, healthy kind of alternatives to some of these sweets later on this month in a special featured article as we get closer to Halloween. So please keep an eye out for that to stack up on some additional ideas to support your health while indulging in those sweet cravings. So again, just remember fiber, protein, balanced meals. Really pay attention to the timing of your meals and snacks and aim to get as much movement as you can to help balance that blood sugar. Now, before we go today, I would love to hear from you. Please let me know, what is your favorite Halloween treat? And which of the strategies that we talked about today do you want to try this week? Go ahead and put that into the chat box or the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts. And if you have any additional questions or ideas for topics that you would like for us to cover in future live Q&A sessions, please pop those into the chat box or the comment box. We definitely read your suggestions and we take those into consideration each time we plan our weekly Q&A sessions. So please share with us what's the most important to you so that we can make sure that we're providing valuable content that really is going to be helpful and interesting to you. And again, last thing here, if you would like to learn more information, we post articles every single week on our website, so you can visit rosenaturalwellness.com to take a look at those. And we also offer a free discovery call for anybody who's interested in exploring personalized guidance around their nutrition and wellness. It's absolutely free. You just go to rosenaturalwellness.com/discovery-call, or you can click the link in the description box to navigate straight there. There's a very brief questionnaire, and then we can get started and see if we're a good fit to work together. So if you are at all considering individual guidance for nutrition, I highly recommend that you take advantage of that free discovery call to see how we can help you with meeting your health goals. So thank you again so much for joining us today for our Wellness Wednesday live Q&A. We are so looking forward to next week's topic and continuing to help educate you on the amazing benefits of nutrition for healthy lifestyle. So please subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss out on any of our live Q&As or other videos. And we will look forward to meeting with you again next Wednesday for our Wellness Wednesday live Q&A. Have a happy and healthy day.